Hello, friends, and welcome to the Optimized Advisor Podcast, where we focus on optimizing the well-being and best practices of insurance and financial professionals today. On this show, our objective is to help you optimize your life, optimize your profession, and learn from other optimized advisors. I'm your host, Scott Heinela. We hope you enjoy the show. Welcome to the Optimized Advisor Podcast. Josh Lackowski, we are here in studio today to talk about branding and messaging. You always use this, whiz, boom, pow.
It's the whiz, boom, pow, baby.
That's right.
And I think this is going to be a power session.
That's right. This is a power session. Well said.
Jam-packed with value and actually giving an experience of what we provide to advisors to help them build a better brand.
And the first thing in whiz, boom, pow is make
your mark.
Make your mark.
Absolutely.
So important.
And I love Maker's Mark, too.
Who doesn't?
I'm just kidding.
Who doesn't? I mean, absolutely I do. All right. So in our journey with advisors,
Yes.
the goal of this is to help them shape the color, the content, the brand of their organization. Sometimes that's easier said than done. Sometimes I don't have a logo. I don't have a brand. I've never given it that much thought. Sometimes I've just been using one. And question begets, is this fitting for where I'm at today? Have I really walked through this process? So there's three main goals of our brand messaging process, right?
Yes, sir.
What are those? Number one, we want to first, it's the foundation of your identity. So what is the foundation of your identity consist of? Purpose, value, mission.
That's
Am
it.
I missing anything?
No.
No, okay. So the goal of this is first and foremost to help establish the purpose, mission, and values and vision of your organization. What it is that you're trying to portray, what it is that you are trying to accomplish in your mission.
Yes, and the great thing about it, it works in both ways, from an organizational standpoint and also from an individualistic standpoint, especially if you're an independent financial advisor. So it's you are the brand, the reputation, you are the organization sometimes.
Correct. And or in the instance of saying, "Oh, I've been the brand, I've been the organization for 10, 20 years. I am now pivoting away from just me as the brand to an enterprise level." That's sometimes a tough bridge to, and how do I get over that bridge to where I'm shifting a little bit away of, me, and arguably so. That's how I've achieved my level of success to this point,
Right.
to where I'm actually shifting to more of a CEO role, a leadership role, and now the vision needs to be turned to an enterprise, to an organization, to a greater good. How do I shape that? Okay, next step, right, is a framework, a process. So what this is a guide that kind of helps you along that journey so that you're not just fumbling along. And
100%. And I would say, too, this in the process itself is only as good as the individual who's taking it and going as deep as possible with these questions. Because it's very easy to skim over them, write down a top thought answer.
Right.
But to be uber successful in building that the strongest foundation as possible,
Yeah.
it requires time, thought, and going and walking through that, and consideration.
And I would challenge disconnecting yourself from the noise. Commit to this process without anything going on around you to really think through, right? What is it that you value? What is it that you are ultimately trying to achieve as a business? Start with something, behaviors, practices, what it is that is most important to you in life, what it is that you are trying to accomplish to your customers. You had talked about this earlier. Yes, Nike makes shoes. They make athletic clothing, fabric. But what it is that they're ultimately trying to achieve?
They're making champions, those
Okay.
who believe, live, sweat, breathe as a champion.
That's it.
The pursuit
You're
of it.
absolutely right. So from a financial planner's perspective, it's not the mutual funds, it's not the investments, it's not the insurance solutions. Those are byproducts, right? What is it that I am ultimately trying to achieve and portray with the clients and the relationships that I pursue?
That's going deep. It
Yeah.
is. It really
Okay.
is.
Great advice. Don't go it alone. So look for people who do what? Like in best practices.
Yeah, I mean, the process of really thinking about purpose, mission, and value, working through those on your own, and then being able to have people that you trust, that you're surrounded with, that you can discuss those things with. And again, that's like it's the refinement process, and really, leveraging the insights and experience of others to really look into what you're defining as who you really are and what you want your business to represent.
Yeah.
So it's good to have, trusted friends, mentors, business colleagues that you can
So that's
discuss with. That's important.
That's a great point. So maybe it looks a little bit like this. Take the time on your own. Take a half a day. Work through this. Put some genuine thoughts down on paper. Then you go to your team if you have one, right?
Yeah.
And you say, let's work on this exercise together. What is it that you feel are our values? What is it that you feel as our mission, et cetera, et cetera?
Yes.
Then maybe even go to my nearest and dearest clients, the ones who know me, the ones who I've been with the longest, and have a think tank, right, of clients and say, and maybe we've already created a little bit of an iteration of this to this point, and we're saying, we're looking at doing this.
Yeah.
Good idea or bad idea?
I think that's a great idea.
Okay. All right. So have a process for that, right? Look for people that you can trust. Who is your trusted network? Do not, I think, excuse your trusted clients. I would appreciate your best clients, the ones who know you most. It's okay to be a little vulnerable and say, we're going through this process for the better of our organization, and I would love to bring you in and get your insights.
And I think a great angle too is in doing that because you're trying to get to that core bedrock and within truth, right? So you're weeding out, again, from the refinement, discussion that we had on the previous episodes. It's that.
Yeah.
It's getting down to that. So you need the insights of others.
And I would argue, I think your best clients would probably give you the most direct and honest feedback.
And I think some advisors going through that process may actually be surprised what they hear back of what means the most to their clients.
Okay, next. How do I establish a meaningful purpose statement? Finding purpose is a whole other conversation we get into. I'm a little right now discouraged by the word just because it seems to be everywhere.
Purpose. People are selling it, baby.
I get it.
And people are living it too.
Totally. Absolutely. So I'm not diffusing any of that, but how do I establish a meaningful purpose statement?
So again,
What does that look like?
So there's a couple things from an exercise and a process of really defining what that is, right? But from a business perspective, there's a few questions that you can ask, right? Who are we as an organization? It sounds like a simple question, but to really give that time and thought, and what's going to be generated from that question alone.
Yep, great question.
Why do we exist as an organization? What are we doing? What are we really doing in service of others? What are we doing? What is that true? What aspirations, what higher sense of purpose are we providing an avenue for people to walk down and actually achieve?
What value am I delivering?
Right. Because if you really explore that, you may be surprised that it's not the things that you would top of mind think.
Right. Whom do you serve would be one I would think would be next, right?
Absolutely.
It can't be everybody.
It can't be everybody. I think it's really important to be conscious and aware of where your abilities, passions, skill set, capabilities, into serving whom. And you got to be very selective in a manner to do that.
Mm-hmm.
It's important.
You do. It is.
Because everybody's approach may be a little bit different of what they're trying to achieve, right?
Absolutely. And it's hard early on in your career because all I'm trying to do is survive initially. But I do get to a level of significance. And at significance, it becomes very, very meaningful to really have clarity in that answer, in that question of whom it is that I do serve.
Yes.
Because I cannot serve everybody. And I am not a good fit for everybody either. And so is there anything else?
No, I mean, with that, in regards to looking at the outcome, like what do you want the outcome to actually be for those that you're serving, and also for your business?
Right.
So part of that exercise looks at where do you want to be? Where do you want to be 5 years from now? 7 years from now? 10 years from now?
Yeah. And
then also doing that, listening to for your clients. Where do your clients want to be? Those are great questions to pose to them.
Right.
And then revisiting, refining. Like you said, I mean, it kind of as
it can evolve.
As time moves, things change and evolve.
Absolutely.
But I think usually there's a deeper core in terms of what people are looking for and what they want.
Absolutely. Okay, so we've talked about, how to establish a meaningful purpose statement. How do you define your mission statement? So getting to a point of refinement and being concise. That's a journey and a process that I would imagine probably takes time.
Takes a lot of time. And it's funny because it usually gets reduced down to less than like one sentence.
Really?
And you'd think like, oh, well, that would be, that sounds easy. It's not easy.
Yeah. So you've helped many of our advisors in this journey.
Yes.
What are some of the biggest challenges that you've seen in them getting to this point of defining my mission statement? Is there anything that stands out?
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's some questions in there that challenge the advisor to think outside from just a logical step A, B, C, D type of approach or process, right?
Has there been specific epiphanies that agents have come up with in that process to you of like, gosh, I just fill in the blank?
I'm not so much epiphanies, because what's revealed in the end is something that's deeper within inside of them, a deeper truth and understanding. What we do experience is the joy and exuberance from the advisor of being like, I have a tagline, I have a purpose statement, I have a mission clearly defined.
Yeah. And
that gives them a sense of even greater confidence.
Yeah.
And also it gives them a greater, platform to build off of.
Right.
And to reach as high as they actually possibly can.
Right.
Because without doing that before, you really can't be clear about your messaging and your brand reputation.
So it begins with values. From values, I can identify a purpose.
Yes.
From a purpose, I can build upon that to create a mission.
Yes, and the mission, think of it, the mission part is like that work. It's like getting into like, what are you going to actually be doing for?
Okay.
Yes.
And not until then can I then shape the vision of where it is that we're going to be going.
Of course. Because if you don't know who you are, how are you going to know where you're going?
Great. Very good question.
I think it's impossible.
Okay. So how do we then establish our company's vision? What is the process to then articulate that and embody that?
So it's just like what you explained within that process of defining your purpose, your values into the mission. Then you're properly equipped in understanding exactly what it is. Like, how much impact can you actually have in the world?
So it's what we ultimately want to become?
Yes.
Okay.
And I would even say the higher ideal is, and we, in terms of how can we help others become what they need to become? right?
Yes.
Because if there's no clients, if there's nobody to help
Yeah.
them to become who they want to become,
Because
there's no
correct.
You know what I'm
Correct.
saying? So
Absolutely.
But
so by
oftentimes,
definition, a financial advisor is not a financial advisor by themselves in a vacuum. They serve others.
that's the whole role. Yeah.
That's the whole point.
Yes.
In what capacity do I serve others?
Eh.
What am I ultimately in that effort aiming to achieve?
Personally, or just like in general?
In general, yeah. That is the exercise
Yes.
that we're requesting of the advisor.
Yes. And I'm telling you,
Or of the insurance professional, not to always just pinhold
Right.
investments, if it's insurance.
But I'll say
Okay.
this. So let me say that, and I still consider myself a newcomer within the world of financial planning and insurance. I mean, primarily my background is in automotive, right? From
Right.
the heart of Detroit.
Yeah, Mopar.
We're with the big three.
That's right.
Performance, baby.
That's right. Boom, boom.
People, passion, performance. No. So
That's our podcast.
I know. That's why I said that,
love
man.
that.
It still goes back to the point of being able to walk alongside an expert who's able to do this, alongside people you trust, and to formalize this in a manner to where you can be the most effective and potent within the world of helping people achieve what they desire, what they dream of.
Mhm.
And I don't think there's a greater industry than the financial industry that can have more direct impact on people's lives. Peace, security, abundance, wealth,
Mhm. Safety,
safety.
security.
But even beyond that,
Yeah.
it is about going beyond wealth.
Right. It absolutely is.
So what does that look like?
define,
What is that deeper,
define
right?
true wealth. Right?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so a vision, there's a vision statement. Is it a few words? Is it a lot of pages? Is
No, the
it
vision statement is usually about a paragraph.
It is. Okay.
Yeah.
So it's meant to be a little bit more wordy, more articulate, refining what our bold goal is
Yes.
in the perfect world of what our ultimate level of accomplishment is.
Yes. It should make you.
Not success.
No.
No.
But that vision statement should be something that you can pin up. You can put in a little 8.5 by 11 frame.
Share
And
it with
you
the
can
world.
put it, but it should be something that if you look at it every day, that you're excited and motivated and passionate about going in that direction.
One of our other advisors does this every year for himself, and instead of it he calls it his statement of vision.
I need to meet him.
You have.
Oh,
But we
interesting.
We won't name
We won't
him.
reveal him?
No. Not
Oh,
here.
now I'm curious.
Anyways, I loved that because it frames it in a way for me that I can better understand of like, these are the words of what it is that I am trying to achieve.
Absolutely.
And so every organization should have that. How do I identify your core values? To me, it begins with that, to be honest with you. It begins with my core values.
Yeah.
And from there, I build upon that. So I would put that probably first, right? So let's go through a few of these just really quickly, right? That'll help our audience and help our advisors and insurance professionals as they work through this process. So we want to list a number of descriptive words that best represent your company. We advise of a minimum of 5 words required.
Yes.
Again, there's a lot of resources out there. Go through this exercise.
Absolutely.
If we could probably provide this, if need be, on request, but there's a whole list of values that we have or exist on the internet. Go look it up, create it, put it into a spreadsheet.
Yep.
From there, extract the words that resonate with you, the values. From there, cut it in half, and weed it down to, in my advice, 2 to 4 max.
Yeah. Maybe even push to 5.
Okay,
Because
maybe push to 5.
I think having that, you get a well-rounded understanding from those descriptive words that can then breed forth, some purpose statements.
Yeah. So for me, I did this, and we're working on this process: family, health, integrity, passion, people. Is what comes to mind for me. But again, this is the challenge, right? Write that down. Think about it. Start to negotiate with yourself between other values that might be on the 10 list. Does people outweigh or family outweigh one of the others, right?
And asking yourself, why are those on your top, 4 or 5 list?
Why? 100% why.
Why is it?
And why not another value? Debate over those. Give yourself that time. What is your company's purpose? We've talked a little bit about that. What is your company's mission? So these are the big 3, right? Value, mission,
purpose, yeah.
And purpose.
Yep.
Yes, okay.
Yeah.
What is the vision for your company's future?
Yep.
What do you ultimately want to achieve? What core values drive your business? What is your company's core business process? Interesting one.
That is an important one too, right? And it goes back to kind of those 2 truths of what people want, right? I think for most human beings as well, we want things to be not only where we feel safe, secure, important, and all that stuff, but from a time management standpoint, process is very, very important to optimize one's time.
Right.
And by doing that, you can actually show more appreciation and valuation to somebody for the fact of the matter that you're putting in this type of process to help them achieve what they want to achieve faster. I think it's important.
Very important. Next question. What are you most passionate about the business that you are in? Why are you here?
This is where things start getting a little real, man.
Right.
Because you have to be confronted sometimes. Is this what you really want to be doing? Is this where your heart lies? Is this where your mind is occupied?
I love finance. I love investments. I want to make a great income. Are those really the answers that you should be pursuing? I'm saying no, but I would imagine those are some of the knee-jerk answers.
No, but in terms of what people are passionate about, this is where things get really real. They're confronted with the idea of, is this who you are, and is this what you really want? Is your heart and mind aligned to these things?
Yeah.
Right?
And there's no universal answer.
There's no real universal answer. I think people are so diverse in nature, right, that they can each reduce down to that deeper core.
Yeah.
And find that. So there isn't like one right answer for all this process. It's a beautiful thing actually to walk through.
And no wrong answer.
No. The wrong answer is lying to yourself.
Lying to yourself.
That is always the wrong answer.
Absolutely.
And lying to other people. That's not a good thing to do either.
No.
So
what higher purpose are you serving in comparison to the competition?
So that's a pretty big one. I mean, it's always good. And I would say be careful with this question. You don't want to do it to be comparative in a manner where you want to be like somebody else.
Right.
I think it's good to admire and understand what the competition is doing that is of value and that is worth looking into. But you don't want to copycat them, right? It's about using that in a manner to be able to best set yourself up for more significance and more success with your own foundation.
Yeah.
But it is important to be aware of what's happening within the marketplace and from a competitive standpoint.
The discipline in this, in my opinion, is staying true to who you are and not keeping up with the Joneses stigma per se, right?
Yeah.
I do not need to be that advisor if it's not a good fit. Stay true to yourself. Be honest.
And sometimes that's hard for us as
hard.
humans,
Very,
right?
very much so, especially in our space. It's not an easy task because I want to be him or her. And that means I got to do all these things. No, it doesn't. Doesn't mean you have to do all those things.
No, you're right. And I think oftentimes that is a form of where we look at an ideal of somebody and we think we want to be that person, but it's not really the person that we want to be. There is something maybe that they're producing in their own life or living in their own life that's attractive, where we're like, man, I really wish I had, a better organization.
Right.
I wish I had more creativity.
Right.
I wish I had better speaking skills or presenting, Yeah. So sometimes we look at people and we're like, oh, we think we want to be like them.
Yeah.
But there's something in them that's really maybe lacking in ourselves that we have a desire for. So that's, you got to be careful.
You do.
I think from that perspective. But you can leverage that from looking at competition to better yourself based off of what's true and being honest with your, where your passions lie.
Absolutely. Okay, next question. What does your ideal client look like on paper?
Yeah, that's a pretty good one. I mean, it helps in regards, especially from a marketing perspective. If you know who your target audience is, why waste your time marketing to people who you don't really care about serving?
And the more you can refine that, the better off you're going to be. In other words, it's not 50. It's everybody ages 50 to 65 or 68.
Yeah, right.
That's that is a starting point.
Right.
But let's refine that down a little bit. Let's sharpen the pencil on that a little bit.
Sure. From a data point you can collect or identify that information and where you can actually be more targeted, especially within social media.
Yeah.
The more information you have in terms of who you're going after, the more successful you can be within getting your message in front of.
Because that also helps me be more effective with connecting, right?
100%, right.
Where do they live? What are their habits? What do they do with their time? What is it that's near and dear to me?
Yeah.
And how do I connect with those people?
Yes.
Okay.
Absolutely.
What services do you provide that solve the issues your clients face?
Yeah, I mean that's more from a standpoint of being able to identify, because not all financial planners are providing the same type of services, right? They can branch out. That list of what they can do for a client can be shorter, more concise, more specific to very comprehensive in nature.
Or if I'm insurance professional, refining the insurance solutions that I do provide. And that could be a very, very easy question. In our process, all this does is help us refine.
Yes.
Right.
So and it is really it's really to identify, because, what does that look like from kind of the nuts and bolts of the business? What are you providing service-wise for clients? It's good to have those.
The next question I like: what processes do you have established to help your clients feel cared for?
Ooh, that's a big one. That's a hard one to think about too, right? So that's one of those questions I was talking about earlier that make you start thinking, like, what does that mean, really? Right. So in terms of, now this is going into the area of experience, right? So what are you doing as an advisor to create a real tangible experience that is generating a sense of, I'm listening to you, I'm thinking about you, I'm working on your behalf, I'm doing good on your behalf because I care about you.
Yeah.
And that actually expands way beyond just the planning process and walking through that, even from a comprehensive financial planning perspective.
I love that.
It's everything from walking into the office or to your place of work. How are they being greeted?
Yeah.
What's the first thing they're seeing? What are they smelling?
Right. Good point.
Right?
The five senses. Right?
All of it.
Yeah.
All of it.
Yep. Okay. Next question. Describe the ideal experience you would like a client to have interacting with your company. So that's a more of an extension, diving a little bit deeper, what the five senses are, right?
Yes.
How do I want this relationship to coexist? What do I want them to see, feel, hear, touch, smell, all that? What value do you provide your clients that is unique in the marketplace?
And that's a tough one, right? Especially within the financial planning or insurance solutions space, because you have to go beyond, I'm offering these type of protective products or this type of planning approach. It's the uniqueness of who you are as an advisor, and then identifying what those unique elements are. That's a difficult one. Yeah. Because we can say, hey, if I'm a shoe salesman, right, and if I work at this shoe store and, well, these are the shoes I sell and this is what they're made of and here's the sizes. If I go to another shoe store, it's the exact same thing. Right. Right?
Yeah.
It's not that. It's actually looking at the uniqueness of who you are and how you're providing those services and experiences to your client.
Okay, last but not least, before we wrap up, is describe how you want your clients to feel about your company's brand. So to this point, we've had a lot of words,
Yeah.
right? The end result is we actually have an image that portrays in some capacity and emulates all of this. And this is where your team and the magic really, I would say, comes into play. Because how do I articulate an image or draw an image that emulates what it is that I'm trying to portray? So you ask of them to come up with words like trusting, compelled, integrity, American, patriotic, these types of things.
Yeah.
And so then from that, you're able to, which I don't understand, but extract imagery.
Absolutely. Yeah. The world, it's infinite in terms of what's available. How many logos, right? And again, we're not talking to brands, not just the logo, but I'm in terms of the format of a logo, right? How many logos can you fit into a perfect square? Millions. Think about them all. They're either circle, triangular,
right,
oval.
Right.
But when you go on go look at LinkedIn, right? Everybody's logo is in that little, pixelated square box.
Hopefully that logo embodies what it is that I'm trying to portray.
Exactly.
Right? There's some connection
but
between
that's
who I am.
Right. And that's why a brand is not a logo. A logo is a symbol that represents something about that brand. And when you start talking about feeling, what? You're going to talk to me about how do I want people feel about my practice after experience? Yeah.
Yeah.
Because at the end of the day, that's what moves mountains. If you can't get people to emote in terms of feeling a connection towards what you're doing and the value that you're providing to them, their family, their children, from a generational point of view or from a retirement point of view, what are we doing?
Right. Yeah.
Numbers on paper?
Yeah.
That mean nothing.
Right.
That's not life. Now, again, I'm not knocking those things down, but those things should translate into life experiences. So you think about, what do you want people to feel? Right? Think about this place or your journey. Right. If you were to say, hey, these are the things I would want people to walk away with every time we had an interaction, what would that look like for you? What would you want them feeling?
That's a great question that everybody should spend time in this process to refine and hone in on.
Yes.
And that's a challenge. That's an exercise and a journey you need to go through. We're happy to walk alongside you in that process.
Absolutely. Yes, we are. Yes, we are. We can do some great things together. There's no doubt.
Thank you, sir. Till next time.
Till next time.
Cheers.
Thank you, my man.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. Please subscribe, like, share, leave a comment or review. Be sure to check us out on social media at Optimized Advisor Podcast. Till next time.